All right, let's share my screen. Did any of you guys get the chance to go through uh the test? Again, I don't know if you guys can hear me, but did any of you guys get a chance to go through the test?
No,
Yeah,
I didn't.
I have completed the whole test, so
You've completed the whole test?
yes, sir.
Ah, nice, beautiful. All right, cool. Okay, so we have some who went through, some who didn't go through, and that's okay. Um, I just thought maybe if you had gone through, it'll be easier to follow along, but let's see what we can do. Just increase this. Um, maybe that's a bit too much. Okay. Then we did module one the last time I was here at least. So today we're gonna do module two of math. Great. We have our formula here and everything. I'm gonna begin. All right. So we'll try to make this as quick as possible, but also as informative as possible. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to stop me, slow me down. There's no silly question. Any question is a good question. In case I don't get to see you in the chat, just feel free to unmute your mic and just feel free to pause me anywhere. Ask me to repeat. If you don't understand, let me know.
Why?
Someone has the mic on who should be muted right now.
Yeah.
Okay, that's Moviana. It's mute him. All right. So if you have any questions again, just feel free to tap in and just ask. I guess we can get started. I hope everyone is doing great. It's been a minute. Yeah, so I'll start with the first question. And we're going to try to solve this SAT style. So maybe not following too much with formulas, but just like the SAT is, it's an exam that you can solve with like some easy tricks and everything. As you may know, I have not taken the new SAT, the digital SAT. I wrote the previous SAT, so this is like a new exam to me. But last time we tried module one, and it was okay. It was pretty fair. I think simpler than the old SAT. So we're gonna try module two, and hopefully that works out well as well. Okay, so I'll be throwing the ball along to you guys as well, just because I think it's great to collaborate. So the class isn't boring, Again, I'll try to make this as simple as possible. But if I'm not clear anywhere, just let me know. So I got my calculator. Oh, the camera is here. So I got my calculator. I got my working out sheet, and I got my pen. And let's get to it. If you don't have does everyone have like a pen, paper, calculator, just something to solve? If you don't have, just let me know so we can give you a few minutes to get that so that we are all on the same page when we start. You guys all have you guys are an awfully quiet class. This is like the most quiet class I've had. You guys okay? Crazy. You guys okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So are you ready to start? Do you have your papers, your calculators, your pencils, pens?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah, I just need some participation. Otherwise, it's hard to tell where you guys are at. Remember this is for you. So if I don't know where you're at, it's kind of confusing. All right. So we start with the first question. It says Tilly earns P dollars for every W hours of work. Which expression represents the amount of money in dollars that Tilly earns for 39 W hours of work? Um, does anyone want to take this? Or should I just go for it? I'm guessing I'm going for it. Right. Someone want to say something? Okay, so I'm going for it.
Okay, I wanted sorry, I can sorry. I can go for it.
Oh, yeah. Go for it.
Yes, I think choice A correct answer.
Okay, you found A?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and did you say you wanted to solve it?
My approach is, since we've been told that that person earns $P for every few hours of work, I will say, since I'll say dollars is equivalent to what? W hours of work. And I've been asked to find the amount of money that the person will be given for 39 hours of work. So where there's the number of hours of work, put 39. Then where there's the amount of money, put A.
I should put what? A? Okay.
Then I'll use
So,
the
a direct proportion. Okay, so you're breaking, but I think that's Davis. So what Davis is saying is and that's exactly how I would solve it as well, right? So this person earns $P for every W hours of work. So I think you said put 39, but this time I'm putting 39 W. Don't forget the W. So this person earns $P for W hours. So what happens when they work 39 W hours? So you can put whatever variable here. I think you said A for amount, and that's what you're solving for right here. So you cross multiply, right, using proportions, and you have AW is equal to 39 to P39W. Let's do that. And then we can cancel out the W's because W divide W on both sides. So our answer is 39P or P39, which is the same thing. So our answer is A, and that's correct. Okay, so you can take note of that. Our answer is A for the first one. Okay, is everyone good? Any questions?
No.
Okay, awesome. Yes, that's what we need. Some interaction, guys. It's beautiful right there. Okay. For a training program, one rides his bike at an average of 5.7 minutes per mile. Which function M models the number of minutes it would take one to ride X miles at this rate? Okay. Does anyone want to take this? Okay. So it's going to be an interesting class, huh? Playing the silent games. All right. I guess moving at this rate, we're going to take forever. I keep on asking you guys, and you guys are quiet, and I have to ask you like, hey, can you guys hear me? 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 And then someone say, oh, okay, let me solve it. So I'm just going to solve the questions. And if you guys have any questions as I'm solving it, or you want to share a different way of solving it, or you just want to solve it, if at that point you feel like solving it, something hits you in your spirit that that you should solve this question, then feel free to just like unmute your mic and then let me know. All right, so I'm just gonna get straight into it. So for a training program, one rides his bike at an average of 5.7. So Jade's device, I don't know who Jade's device is. Jade says he can't hear me. Can everyone else hear me?
Yes, sir, we can still hear you.
Okay. So let me just tell him. It might be his device. Just real quick. All right. So let's get into it from here. Okay. So training program one, right? He's back at an average of 5.7 minutes. So we'll put this as minutes. This is a similar question to the other one. For every mile. So let's say 5.7 minutes for every mile, right? I'll put M there. So that's for 1 mile. Which function models how the number of minutes, so how many minutes it would take. So we're trying to find this. So I'll call it I'll just call it time. How long, and actually let's do this to make this simpler. So it's 57, it's 5.7 rather. It's 5.7 minutes for every 1 mile. So I'll put a 1 here. So which function models how many minutes it would take for him to ride X miles? So we'll put the X under the miles, and then we solve for T. So we cross multiply, and it's going to be 5.7x. So our answer is D. All right, move on to the next question. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to slow me down, all that good stuff. Clear that. Okay, so it says 3x is equal to 12 minus 3x plus y is equal to -6. All right, so we know that 3x is equal to 12, right? So I'm just going to get the second equation. And where we have 3x, I'm going to put 12. So I'll get -3x plus y is equal to -6. But remember, 3x is equal to 12, so we're going to say 12 plus y is equal to -6. So we have -12 plus y is equal to -6, right? And then to solve for this, we can add 12 on both sides. In elementary school, you say take 12 the other side, it becomes positive. So you have 12 minus 6, and therefore your answer y is equal to 6. All right, so y is equal to 6, and so your answer is B. All right. Again, clear that. The equation gives you the speed, okay, in miles per hour. So of a certain car, t seconds after it begins to accelerate. What is the speed in miles per hour of the car 5 seconds after it begins? Okay, so this equation gives you speed, right? And then t is for seconds. They're asking you what's the speed what's the speed when the car when the car is accelerated after 5 seconds, right? So in short, t is equal to 5. So we just substitute t for 5. So with s is equal to 40 plus 3t, we substitute t for 5, which means we're going to have 40 plus 3t, or 3 times 5, which is 15. So we have 40 plus 15, right, which is equal to 55. And our answer is D. Again, I hope I haven't lost anyone at this point. Are we still following? Is everyone still good?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Still here.
Awesome. People are speaking now. We love it. Oh, I just see what was wrong with Dave's audio, but he just left. He didn't join with the audio. His mic isn't even showing. Okay. Question 5. Okay, so question 5. For the right triangle, shown A is 4, B is 5, and we don't know what C is, but which expression represents the value of C? So you might already see this is going to be for the Pythagoras theorem, right? And looking at our answer choices here, I'm guessing we don't even have to scroll that a little bit. Oops, moving too fast. Yeah, we don't even need to solve for the actual value of C. It's just in a simplified form. So we know that C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared, right? and we're trying to find the value of c, not c squared. So in short, we're trying to find the value of c, so we can put a square root on both these sides. But we know that our a is 4, so it's going to be 4 squared plus 5 squared. So our answer is D. All right. So that's for question. What question is this again? That's for question 5. And question 6. What is the solution to the given equation? All right. This looks like it was a pretty chill paper. I don't know what you guys say, at least so far. So 4x plus 5 is equal to 165. And what we're doing now is we're subtracting 5 on both sides. Or, like we said, take 5 the other side, make it negative, becomes 160. So you divide both sides by 4. And do that. You divide both sides by 4. So you have 4 into 16 is 4, and then you have the 0 there. So our answer is 40 for number 6. Any questions at this point, guys? Any questions at this point?
No.
Everything's making sense, right? We're going together. I'm trying to rush
Yeah.
this thing. All right, awesome. Again, if any of you guys, for you guys who just joined, so how we started this class is I was asking people who wanted to take the question before I did, and I had asked like 5,000 times. Luckily we had someone answer a question for us, but it's like, people aren't that interested. So I've just stopped asking because we're taking time asking. We're taking time to ask people if they want to solve. So we're just gonna solve them. Okay, we're just gonna solve them and move. Yeah, Retendo is laughing because she knows she was here. Yeah, so we're just gonna solve the questions. And if you guys at any point feel like you want to solve the question, let me know. Right, just unmute yourself and just say, "Can I take this one?" And I think that would be great. I love to see you guys solve the questions. So if you feel at any point that you want to solve the question, just unmute your mic and go for it. If you have a different method, and you want to share with us as well, because we're all here to learn, just again, unmute your mic. If you don't understand anything I've said, you need me to slow it down, break it down further, explain it in a different way, again, just unmute your mic. I'll keep on throwing these every now and then, just in case you forget. All right, so question 7 says the x-intercept of the graph is shown at x, 0, right? Which is here. The x-intercept is the point at which the graph intercepts or hits the x-axis, right? Which is here, y is equal to 0. So the x-intercept of the graph is shown. The x-intercept of the graph shown is x, 0. What is the value of x? So this is the x here. We can see that these are divided in 2s, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our value is 7, right? 7, 0. So the answer for number 7 is actually 7. All right. So that one will move on. Again, I think I've seen Jaden in the class. I used to tell Jaden that I believe that every SAT math question can be solved in 30 seconds. Every SAT math question can be solved in 30 seconds. So if there's anyone who wants to dispute that we can't solve any of these questions in 30 seconds, let me know. All right. And, at least for the most part. Okay. For the most part, we should be able to solve them. Okay. So question 8 says the function f is defined by f of x is 1/10 of x minus 2. What is the y-intercept of the graph of y is equal to f of x in the xy plane? Okay, so what is the y-intercept? So the y-intercept is the point at which the graph hits the y-axis, right? So at this point, it means our x is 0. So we already know our x is 0, so we can forget about A. We're looking at these last 3 answers. Sorry, we can forget about A and D. So we're looking at these 2 answers basically. So if our x is 0, let's sub in x 0. Let's sub in x for 0. So if we put a 0 here, it means 0 times all this becomes 0, and we just remain with the -2. So it means our correct answer is B. So our answer is 0, -2. Okay. It's just that I'm explaining, but as you can see, 30 seconds. All right. Question 9. The function of f is defined by f of x is equal to 7x cubed in the xy plane, and the graph of y in the xy plane. The graph of y is equal to g of x is the result of shifting the first function down 2 units. Which of the following equation defines the function. So you've got this function 7x plus 7x to the third, and you want to shift it down 2 units, you just subtract the whole equation by 2. So our answer is D. That's for question 9. Okay, so what happens again, just a rule of thumb, whenever you're shifting a whole equation upward or downwards, you just add by the number of units. So in this case, it's going down 2 units, so we subtract 2. But if we were shifting on the x-axis, right, if we're doing a horizontal shift, then we might have like something like maybe x plus 1. Like in this case, we moved it one side, 1 unit to the left, for example. If we're moving it 1 unit to the right, it would be -1, and so on. So that's kind of how it works. But since we're just shifting up or down, we just add or subtract. That's just the rule of thumb. Yeah. Okay, let's clear that, and then let's move on to question 10. Okay, so it says x plus 7 is equal to 10, and x plus 7 squared is equal to y. I can already see our answer is A. Does anyone else see why? The answer is A even before we solve this question.
So because you could basically square 10 to get the answer, and 10 squared is 100.
Exactly, right? Because if x plus 7 is equal to 10, then it means x plus 7 squared is equal to y. So it means y should be 10 squared, which is 100. And how sure are we that A is our answer? Okay, let's confirm. We know that x plus 7 is equal to 10, sorry. X plus 7 is equal to 10. So we know that if we subtract 7 from both sides and we turn this into this equation, 10 minus 7, right? We know that our x is 3. So that confirms. Bingo. All right. You guys are doing fine. You're doing wonderful. Okay, so the function p is defined by p of n is 7n cubed. What is the value of n when p of n is equal to 56? All right, so you've got 7n cubed, right? Rather, you've got p of n is equal to 7n cubed. But what is the value of n when p of n is equal to 56? So this is equal to 56. So 7n cubed. So you can divide by 7 throughout. 7 into 56 is 8. So n cubed is 8. But the value of n, not n cubed. So it means we cube root this. We cube root that. The cube root of 8 is 2, because 2 times 2 times 2 is equal to 8. And our answer is 8. Okay, so question 10 done. Move. Okay. Yes, it is okay, huh? Oh, man. Yeah, there's always less pressure when you're not having to take it. I guess you guys experience more pressure. Okay, so in the figure shown, line C intersects parallel lines S and T. As we can see, the line C is intersecting the two parallel lines S and T. What is the value of X? Okay, so I know alternate angles are equal. So this is a straight line, so this should make 180. So if this is 110, then this is 70. If this is 70, then that's 70. And then these are called vertically opposite angles. So these two should be equal as well. So our X is actually 70 degrees. So our 13 is 70. Okay. Again, the principle here is that alternate angles, the ones that make like a Z on parallel lines, are equal. So we know that straight lines make a 180 degree, right? So if that's 180 and this is 110, then there's a 70 left here. So it means these are equal. Then there's also another rule that says vertically opposite angles are equal. So this angle will be equal to this angle, and that angle will be equal to that angle. All right, just for the sake of explanation, I don't want you guys to complain saying, "Oh, Drew was teaching us." He claims he was teaching us, but he was just solving the questions. All right, so a list of 10 data values is shown below. So 6, 8, 16, 4, 17, 26, 8, 5, 5, 5. What is the mean? So the mean is just the average. And how do you do that? You get the total of the values. Okay. You divide that by the count of the values. Okay, that's pretty much like a formula for this. So what's the total of the values here? We can count 6. So if you go to your calculator, you can add them up. But 6 plus 8, that's 14. 14 plus 16, that's 30 plus 4, that's 34. Plus 17, that's 51. Plus 26, that's 77. Plus 8, that's 85. Then 90. 95, 100. All right. So it's 100 our total. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's 100 divided by 10. So our mean is actually 10. Okay, so answer to number 14 is 10. Everyone good so far?
Yeah.
Oh, Audin. Oh, missed again. Okay. Okay, so the equation. Wait, someone needs to mute themselves. Let me see here. Who do I need to mute? Oh, it's Audin. Okay, mute the guy. There you go. All right. So the equation EOT is equal to 5 multiplied by 1.8 to the T. So that equation gives the estimated number of employees at a restaurant, where T is the number of years since the restaurant opened. Which of the following is the best interpretation of the number 5 in this context? Okay, anyone want to go for this? Okay. All right. I guess let's stick to answering. All right, so A says it's the estimated number of employees when the restaurant opened, and that's probably our answer. The increase in estimated number of employees each year. So that's not correct. So because we have a 1.8 here, this is more than 1. So it means this is a percentage increase. So 1.8. So the increase in the estimated number of employees each year should actually be 1.8, not the 5. The number of years since the restaurant opened. Number of years the restaurant has been open. So number of years is related to time. The T is for time here. The percentage increase in estimated number of employees each year. Actually, that is B. I think the percentage increase. Or I'm misplacing those two. Yeah, wow, one of the two. But A says the estimated number of employees when the restaurant opened. That makes sense. So when the restaurant opened, it means the time was 0. So 1.8 to the power 0 is 1. So it means at the beginning of time, just 5 times 1, which is just 5. So this is in the exponential form A times B to the power X, where A stands for the initial value, right? A stands for the initial value, and then B stands for the rate. So this is the rate of increase or decrease. We just got an answer in the chat box, choice A, exactly. Audin is back, guys, my guy. Feel free to unmute yourself, Audin, if you want to talk, or if you want to solve the questions or anything like that. But yes, that's correct. That's A. And you guys also feel free to do the same if you want to throw your answers in the chat box. That's pretty cool too. Yes, so choice A is our answer for that same reason. We move on to question 16. What is the minimum value of the given function x squared plus 55? Oh my goodness, the SAT really is a reasoning test sometimes, right? So the answer is 55. I can already see the answer is B. Does anyone else see why it's B even before you solve the question?
So we normally plug 0 in for x, and from you have plus 55, well, it's going to equal 55.
You normally plug 0 for x. Why would you plug? What's the reason in plugging 0 for x? I'm just curious. I mean, that's not how I saw the answer though. So I'm just curious. What's the reason?
That's
for
just
you
the rule
to,
that I learned in class. So I just always plug 0 in for x.
You always plug in 0 for x at the y-intercept. So in this case, that would have got you the answer, but I'm not convinced about the reasoning, but that would have got you the answer. So I mean, if you get the score, then hey, that's no one's complaining, right? So sorry, Jade, you said?
Isn't it like the reason why 55 is the minimum value is because when you're looking at the order of x, right? Like x squared takes is assumed to take a higher value than 55 with x to the power 0.
X is assumed to get a higher order than 55. Sorry, and then what you said? You said x is x takes a higher order than 55, right? Because at 55, you have like x to the 0, right? Which is 1. And then there you have x squared. Oh, are you saying because I see what you're saying, because x is to the, okay, do you guys see what she's saying? I also don't know if this reasoning is, I mean, it got you the answer, but I don't know about this reasoning. So she's saying this is x squared, right? And then plus 55. I think this is what she's saying. This is as good as 55 times x to the power 0. But anything to the power 0 is 1. So at the end of the day, it's going to be x squared plus 55 by 1, which is 55. So this one attached, the number that's attached to x to the 0 is the minimum, because 2 is higher than that. Is that what you say? I don't know if that's what she's saying. She doesn't want to speak to us anymore, and that's okay. Well, it's not okay, but so the reason why I was able to see this easily, because have you guys ever seen? I'm not drawing to scale, so this is going to be an ugly graph. But have you guys ever seen? Have you guys seen this equation? You know this equation, right? If anyone knows what this equation is, have you guys seen the graph of x squared? How it looks like a parabola, x squared. You guys haven't seen the equation of x squared, no? Or you're just feeling shy? It's a tough crowd. It's a tough crowd today. Okay. No one. Going once, going twice, going thrice. Oh man, have any of you guys seen the equation? I mean, the graph of x squared. Y is equal to x squared. Well, anyway, if you haven't, it looks something like this. Okay, it looks something like this. So it's very symmetrical. So this is the graph of x squared. So how I knew was if you get x squared plus 55. Remember we just talked about this. So it means this graph would have to be shifted 55 units above. 55 units above. So this would be 55, this is 0. So it means the lowest point is the vertex. The lowest point is the y value. So it's the vertex. So it means we can't get any number smaller than 55. Look at x. Like what Rodin said. Imagine if you plug in, let's try to plug in 0 here. So you have 0 squared plus 55. That's still 55. Try to plug in -1. You have 1, it's going to be 1 plus 55. -1 squared is going to be 1 plus 55 is 56. So the smallest possible number you can get is 55 regardless. Even if you plug in, you see the smallest number is 55. But I was just using the logic before I didn't have to solve the question because I was thinking of x squared. And then when you elevate that 55, it means the lowest point now becomes 55. Another way to do this is by completing the square. So if you guys have learned about completing the square, you can leave it in this way. I don't know the exact letters, but you get the logic. So this, you can complete it in this way and get the value of 55. And this should be like, I think x plus 55 squared minus, no, sorry. That's not what I mean to do. You can leave it in the vertex form. In the vertex form, there's a formula actually, right? This gives you the x value at the maximum or the minimum, right? In the vertex form. So you get negative b over 2a. So if you have a quadratic formula, a quadratic expression, right? In this case, our a is 1, our b is 0 because it's as good as there's a 0x there. So our b is 0. 0 over 2 times 1. Anything being divided by 0 is 0. So our b is 0. But for you to find, this is for value. For you to find the y value, you just say f of negative b of 2a. In this case, you do f of 0 because negative b over 2a is 0. So then you plug in 0, just like Rodin said. So where this x squared, you plug in 0 now. Because we know that our negative b of 2a is 0. So if we try f of x, and we put in the 0 here, we're still going to get 55. Okay, so Rodane, now do you understand why you're plugging in 0 in this particular situation? I'm not sure if it will work in every case, but do you understand the reasoning now?
Yes, sir, I get you.
All right, awesome. That was good. That was good. That was good. That was good. I'm loving it. Loving it. All right, so we looked at how to solve that in like 3, I don't know, different ways. Intuitively, using the negative b over 2a form, shifting graphs. All right, question 17. So each year, the value of an investment increases by 0.49% of its value the previous year. Which of the following functions best models how the value of investment changes over time? Okay, so here,
Decreasing exponential.
did you say decreasing or increasing?
Decreasing exponential.
Okay, so why would you say the answer is decreasing?
All right, let me explain.
Mhm.
First thing, it's 0.49. 0.49 is less than 1. And it says of its previous value previous year. So like say 2020, the investment was worth say $100. I know that's not really fun, but just for example, 0.49% of that is $49 this year. And then next year it's 49% of $49. That's just going down, down, and more down.
Okay. Do you guys get the explanation? That's a good explanation, Audin. Do you guys get the explanation? Tough crowd out there. It's a tough crowd. It's a tough crowd. But that was a very good explanation. So do you guys get the explanation? Do you guys get the explanation? There's your understanding is actually great. So there's just a trick with this question, and I'll explain why. So there's a reason why I'm asking if you guys understand what he's saying, because he's just thought of something that's great about exponentials. So when you're dealing with exponents, when you're dealing with anything more than 1, you're actually having an increase. But when you're having something below 1 as a fraction, it's actually a decrease, right? But then the problem with this question is, if you read this question, so it says each year the value of an investment increases by 0.49% of its previous value, of its previous year, of its value the previous year. Which of the following functions best models how the value of investment changes over time? So the problem in this one is there's the question, right, tells you that it's actually, we know that it's an exponential function. It's not linear because we're dealing in percentages. So B and D is out, right? So B and D is out. But then the problem with this particular question is, and let me think of a number I can give you guys. I can't think of a particular thing right now. But because we've been told that the value of the investment is actually increasing. So it's increasing by a small percentage, right? In this particular case, it's actually supposed to be increasing exponentially. But if you're dealing with any exponents and you're multiplying it by a fraction, then you're decreasing. You're actually decreasing. But then the trick with this question, I guess, Audin, was it's not a fraction to the power of something, but it's an increase. It's increasing by a fraction. Does that make sense? It's, for example,
Makes sense.
Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say, right? So
yeah, I get what you're saying. It's
if
like
you have
they're putting 49% more on what's already there.
Exactly. So, but I like what Audin said, because if you're dealing with it like this, the way you put it, so if you are dealing with it this way, if the rate, right, this is the initial value, but if the rate is a fraction, like 0.49 to the power something, so if it's 0.49, 0.5 to the power something. If your rate is a fraction, then you're going to have a decreasing exponential function if your rate is a fraction. But in this case, it's not your rate, but your actual percentage is a fraction. So it's okay. So you can increase by a small fraction. But if your rate of increase is a fraction, then you're having decrease, like what Alden said. So if you're going to do 0.5, like for example, if you do, think about it this way. Let's think about it this way. Let's look at a fraction and let's look at an actual number. Let's look at 5 to the x and 0.5 to the x. So 5 to the power 1 is 5. 5 to the power 2 is 25. 5 to the power 3 is 125. But 0.5 to the power 1 is 0.5. 0.5 to the power 2 is 0.25, right? So which number do you guys think is bigger, 0.5 or 0.25? You can tell by the first 10 that 0.25 is smaller, right? Right. So if we do 0.5 to the power 3, you're going to have 0.1. So you can see 125. The number is getting smaller. So this is what Alden was saying, and he was saying a very good principle for us to learn. He was summarizing exponentials for us, actually exponents for us. So whenever you have a fraction as your rate, your thing is always going to go down. Your total value is also going to go down. But if you have a whole number, you keep on increasing it. Like 5, it's going to be 5, 25, 125. It's going to get bigger. But in this case, why that didn't apply is because it's not our rate, but our actual percentage is a fraction, so it's increasing by a small fraction. So our answer is C, which is increasing exponential. Is everyone okay?
Yep.
Awesome. So the population of Greenville increased by 7%. Excuse me, from 2015 to 2016. So 2015 to 2016. So let's say 2015, and then let's say we have 2016. So if 2015 we had X, then it means in 2016 we had 1.07 times X. I'm saying that because 7% is the same as 7 over 100, which is the same as 100 into 7 is 0, 100 into, you can put a 0 there. 100 into 70 is still 0, put another 0 there. 100 into 700 is 7. So it means already to the 100%, which is a 1, we add 7%. So it means we're increasing this by 1 point. So whenever you have a percentage increase, it's 1 plus. But whenever you have a percentage decrease, because from your whole, which is 100%, you subtract. So if it was a 7% decrease, we're going to take out 7%. But now we are adding 7%. So if in 2015 we had X, in 2016 we have 1.07X. Is everyone okay so far?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Okay, so in 2016, if the 2016 population is K, okay, so in 2016 we've been told, what if the population is K times the population of 2015, which right now we don't know, we put X. So K times the population of 2015 is X. Okay, so can you guys see the answer already? What's the value of K?
Yes, sir. It's A. 0.07.
Wait. The one should say 0.07. But look at this. 2016 is K. 2016 population is K times the original population. So we have K times X, right? And that's it. We know that in this proportion, in 2016, we had a 7% increase. So we can see the X there, we can cancel the X here. So the actual value of K is 1.07. So the answer is C. Yes, the increment, it increased by 0.7%, but that was just the percentage, right? But they're telling us, what if in 2016 we had K times the original population? So if we had X, so we're going to have K times X. But we know that in 2016 already we have 1.07 times X. So our K should be 1.07. So that's the increase. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. Awesome. They're trying to trick us, man. They're trying to trick us, but nah, we'll trick them back. Okay. Which expression is equivalent to A to the 11 over 12, where A is greater than 0? So, okay, A is positive. So You guys have looked at exponential.
Yes, sir. All right. First thing, we know that the denominator is the outside number.
There
The
you go.
multiple of 12 or 12 should be on the outside, and 11 should be underneath the radical sign.
Okay,
Hence,
so just
we
like
know
this, right?
that D
In this form,
is
right?
out of it. Yes, we know that D is out of it, and C is out of it. We also know that A is out of it because 12 remains as 12 as 132 remains multiplied. So our answer is B.
Okay, answer is B. Okay, this guy is quick. This guy is quick. Before let me clarify. Let me clarify. This guy's too fast for me. Too fast for me. Oh, I'm touching over the screen. Sorry. Too fast for me. All right. So okay. So just like Alden said, right? We have A, for example, A to the power M over N. So the denominator becomes the radical power. The numerator becomes the power that's attached to the expression on the inside. So in this case, we have 12 A to the 11. But we see that that's not an answer choice, right? So most likely what these guys have done is, this is actually a tricky one. So yeah, our answer might actually be B, but I don't know how I didn't do that real quick. That's hard. Can you guys see the trick here? Except Alden, because he solved it. Okay, so this is what they did, guys. This is what they did. I'm assuming this is what they did. So they either solved this question by 11 over 11 or by 12 over 12. Now, do you know why they'll do that? Because if you multiply this by 11 over 11, right? Watch. If I multiply this by 11 over 11 or by 12 over 12, and most likely it's going to be 12 over 12 because if Alden is correct. So if you multiply this by 11 over 11, you're multiplying the exponent by 1. So you're not really changing anything. You understand what I mean? Because 5 over 5 is the same as 1, right? 5 divided by 5 is 1. The number over itself is just 1, right? Root over root is just root over, right? So what's happening here is you have what's happening here is you're multiplying the exponent by 1. It's like you're doing 11 over 12 times. Okay, so Khadija also says it's B, so we have two people saying it's B. So yeah, let's find out. So this is as good as multiplying this by 1 or by 1 over 1, or whatever you want to see. So if you multiply 11 by 11, you have 121. And if you multiply 12 by 11, you have 132. 132. So now using this rule here, it means our answer should be 132. In my thing writing. Okay. So you have 132. Okay, let's undo that. Let's undo that. My pencil is acting up, guys. Sorry. Okay, 132, and then you have A to the power 1, right? Because the numerator comes here, the denominator comes here. But we've seen that that's the opposite of C. So they've just swapped that. So that's not C. That's not C. Okay, so let's try the other way. Let's try multiply by, instead of multiplying by 11 over 11, let's try to multiply this by 12 over 12. So 11 by 12, remember, is 132. So you have A to the 132. And then 12 by 12 is 144. So what does that mean? 144 becomes the root of the number attached to the radical. And then we have 132 inside there. So we have our answer, which is B. So Alden and Khadija, yeah, big ups to you. I know you guys saw that quickly, but I don't know if you agree with me that it was kind of a tricky question, yeah? They tried to make it tricky. Okay. Yes, I tried to make this question a little bit tricky, but we got it. We got it. Is everyone with me? Is everyone okay?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes, sir. Let's keep going.
Yes, sir. Let's keep going. Okay, I'm just playing. All right, let's do it. I don't know where the energy is coming from. All right, that's beautiful. All right, so now we move on to question 20. So it says an event planner is planning a party. It costs the event planner a one-time fee of $35. So this person will always charge you $35 to rent the venue, and then he also added 10.25 for every attendee. So we'll just say that the event planner has a budget of $200. So what is the greatest number of attendees, which is our A here, possible without exceeding the budget? So this should never exceed 200.
26. No, so the answer is 6.
The answer is 6.
Yes, sir. Need me to
Okay,
explain?
again. Go for it, man. Go for it. Guys,
Alright,
guys,
sure.
quick, quick.
If it has a one-time fee of 35, it means 35 is fixed. Remove that, we have
Yep.
55 from that. Once we have 55,
Okay.
all we do is divide 55 by 10.25, and the greatest whole number is 6, hence our answer.
Okay, so we're subtracting 35 on both sides, right? So it's a 165, right? I don't know if that's what I don't know if that's what you said, but I hope that's what you said. So we take 165 the other side, and then what's 160?
Green in your app.
Is that what you said? Okay,
Yes, sir.
but I okay, great, because I got that, but the explanation is definitely, and then we divide 10.25 to get our A, right? So our A should be less or equal to 16.09 something. I just use a calculator. Don't worry, guys. I'm not that quick. I just use a calculator right now. In case you're wondering, how did he? Yeah. So 6. I don't know if you said 16 or 6. I hope you said 16. I think you said we'll go with 16. So the greatest number of attendees possible is 16, because you can't have 6. We want what's the greatest number of people, right? So it should be less than 16.01. So obviously the greatest number of people less than 16.09 is 16, right? So we round down to the closest whole number because we're dealing with people. So our answer is 16. We move on to question 21. Again, if you have any questions, stop me. What is the possible value of x minus 1? Okay, so if we have the modulus of 4x minus 4 is 112. 1 second. We have Jade saying something. Jade is new. Oh, sorry. I think give me 1 second, guys. Give me 1 second. I think that might be is that a private? Okay.
Sir, the answer for
Okay.
28.
28. Okay, let's find out. And Jade, I got you. Okay, I was just reading the message. I got you. So just Jade, just stick around right after this, so I can send you the thing. So right now I'm just multitasking a little bit, but just stick around and I'll send you the link. I got you. All right. So the answer is, let's see. I'm done.
Can I explain? Are you good with it?
Go for it. Show them. Break it down.
All
Break
right.
it down. Okay.
Firstly,
Mhm.
it says it's the absolute value. It means it doesn't
Mhm.
matter if our answers are negative or positive. It's positive one.
There you go.
Next thing,
Okay.
we get rid of the 4 on the left side, and the answer becomes 116. 4 plus
116, okay.
16. 116
Okay.
divided by 4 is 29. And 1 from 29 is 28.
Nice. So that is correct, and that is actually the correct way. So I was going to cheat. I don't even know if this works, but let's see. This is probably going to work as well. I was going to cheat, and 28 should be correct. I was going to cheat and just say you factor out. So you factor out 4. So we're looking for x minus 1. You factor out 4, right? So like you can take out the modulus because it doesn't really matter, like you said, because this is already anyway. So we take out, because we're taking out the positive version of it. So we factor out 4, and if we factor out 4 on the left side, we factor out 4 on the right side. All right, we factor out 4. So this becomes 2. Sorry. Let's undo that. So we factor out 4 on the right side as well. So 4 into 112 is 28, right? Let's see, 112 divided by 4. Yes, 28. So we can cancel this 4, So it means x minus 1 is equal to 28. Do you guys see that? That's Audin, that's also pretty neat as well. Huh? It's pretty quick, yeah?
Thanks, man.
Yeah, so that's one way of doing it. But the correct way of doing it is the way Audin said it, right? So that's it. Actually, you have to do it 2 ways. Ideally, you're supposed to do 4x minus 4 is equal to 112, or 4x minus 12 is equal to negative 112, because we don't know if it's positive or negative. So we solve for both of them. So like Audin said, you take the 4 the other side, you have 116, right? And then you have 116 divided by 4 is 29. So our x is equal to 29. So we have our x value here. And then this side, we have 4x is equal to negative 112 plus 4, which is negative 108. Right, so negative 108 divided by 4 is negative 27. But negative 27 minus 1 will give you negative 28. They said, what is the positive value of x minus 1? So you get the bigger one, which is 29. So we get x as 29. 29 minus 1, because it's x minus 1, is equal to 28. So our answer is 28. So you see that there's different ways of attacking this, but it should take us back to 28. So the way Audin solved it that way, that is actually the correct way. Ours is doing like a shortcut. I don't even know. I think that should be, it should be right, it should be allowed. All right. So it says a cube has an edge length of 68 inches. A solid sphere with a radius of 34 inches is inside the cube, such that the sphere touches the center of each face of the cube. Okay, so I'm writing on my tablet and then I'm using my PC here. So like, if I'm confusing anyone with the camera, I'm sorry. I'm just like, I'm writing here, but my laptop is here. All right. So a cube has an edge length of 68 inches. A solid sphere with a radius of 34 inches is inside the cube, such that the sphere touches the center of each face of the cube. So to the nearest cubic inch, what is the volume of the space in the cube that's not taken up by the sphere? Okay. Hold up. I'm hearing muffled echoes. Is there anyone I need to? Okay, I'm going to mute Rutendo for a bit. Yeah, I think that's better. That's only because I was hearing echoes from your side. But Rutendo, you're one of my active people, so please feel free to unmute yourself when you need to speak, please. All right. Okay. So we have a cube. Let's draw some version of a cube here. Right, so we have a cube here, and this cube is 68. 68. All right, 68. But inside that cube, we have a sphere that is touching the center. So it's touching this center, it's touching that center, it's touching every center. And it's got a radius of 34 inches. So what's the volume of the space of the cube inside that's not being touched by the sphere? So we're just taking the full volume of the cube and then removing the volume of the sphere. So we're just subtracting. What's the volume of a cube formula? It's L cube, because each side is the same. So it's like length times height times breadth or width. But these are all equal because a cube. Okay. So again, return. I'm just going to mute you just because I'm hearing like my echo. But please feel free to unmute when you need to speak. All right. So you have L cube, and then the formula of volume of a sphere is to be 4/3 pi r squared, pi r cubed. And if you guys forget this, don't be in despair. Just come back to the beginning here. You have the formulas at the beginning here. You see it right here. Volume is 4/3 pi r cubed. That's the volume of the sphere. So if you forget, just go back. Just go back and you find it. Oh, I'm lost, guys. I'm lost. Is this where we are? Yes, this is where we are. Okay. One second. Just receiving a call. Let me just tell this person that I'm tutoring. Okay. So L cube, but our L is 68. So 68 cube minus 4/3 pi. Our radius for the sphere is 34 inches cube. So I'm just going to enter this into a calculator. 68 cube minus 4/3 pi. Our radius is 34. 34, and then we cube that as well. All right, so let's enter that into calculator, and our answer is 140. Okay, so that's our answer, 149,795 point. Okay, so we just round it up, right? So the nearest cubic inch. Okay, so since it's to the nearest cubic inch, our answer is 149,796. That was 95 point. Oh, we just rounded up. All right, so our answer is 8. So we move on to the next question. During SAT. All right. All right. Sorry about that. We have a chat. Oh, okay. Khadija said something. Let's see. Oh, let me try out what she did. 164,657.56 to the power 3. Oh, that's a big number. But if it's the same as A, then you should be good. All right. So let's move on to question 23. Move on to question 23. What is the diameter of the circle in the XY plane of the equation? Okay, it's already
Sorry,
in the
8.
form.
8.
I love how it's quick. Yes, it's 8, right? Because it's already in the equation of a circle
First
form,
thing.
right?
Yeah, first thing is the circle equation. And in the circle equation,
Okay.
the 16 is r squared. The square root of 16 is 4. And now that you get the diameter, you need to double the radius, giving us 8.
There you go. So the radius is r squared, right? Which means r is 4. And to get the diameter, like he said, you have to double the radius. So 2 times 4 is 8. Bingo. So our answer is B. Quick with it, huh? That's beautiful. All right. So let's move. Okay, let's move on to question 24. Okay, so it says for the exponential function f, the value of f of 1 is k. Okay, so when x is 1, y is k, so 1 comma k, where k is a constant. I hope you guys are learning some tips and tricks. If you notice, when I'm solving this question, I'm not really thinking first, like, what's the formula? I'm just like trying to understand it. You notice right now, I just wrote 1 comma k. I don't even know if that's going to help us, but it's like I just read, and then, when I just know when x is 1, it means y is k, so like if you notice, I'm taking in the pieces of information as I'm reaching them. So I hope this class, as you're watching how we're solving this as well, I hope it's teaching you some tricks. If you notice, I'm not overthinking. I mean, a good reason I might not be overthinking this is because I'm not taking the exam. You guys are taking the exam, so it's a bit more serious. So for me, it's like, I'm just, I'm just doing something, just doing some math. So, but I'm not thinking about what's the formula first. This is like, I'm just taking it in pieces. And sometimes I'm not even using a formula, or just using reasoning. Oh, okay, if we do this, and that definitely comes with you just solving a lot of questions. But yeah, all right. So it says for the exponential function f, the value of f of 1 is k, where k is a constant. Which of the following equivalent forms of the function shows an exponential function? Which of the following equivalent forms of the function of f shows the value of k as the coefficient or the base? Okay. So if this is an exponential form, we know that it's in the form a of b to, let's say, t or whatever, or x or whatever. This is the base, and this is the coefficient, I think. So which one of the following shows the value of k? So when x is 1, we should get k. Okay, so actually let's look at the answer choices. Let's substitute 1. Oh, okay, so the answer should be C, right? Because look, if we put a 1 here, so it's saying which one is going to give us A or B. So in short, which one is going to give us either 50 or 1.6? Which one is going to give us either 80 or 1.6? Which one is going to give us 128 or 1.6? Which one is going to give us 204.8 or 1.6? Basically, which one is going to work for the answer choices? So if we put 1 on A, because we know our x is 1 here, and then our value is k, the coefficient or the base, the result is going to be k, right? So if we put 1 on A, we have 1.6 squared. 1.6 squared is going to be some number times 50. It's going to make 50 go larger, right? So it means 50 has, we've lost 50 and we've lost 1.6. But we're trying to see which one is going to return either the coefficient or the base. Which one is going to return either 50 or, remember, coefficient, base and coefficient. So we've lost the 50, we've lost the 1.6. We're trying to see which one will make us return either. Let's look at B. If we replace x for 1, it's going to be 1.6 to the power 1, which is 1.6. But 1.6 times 80 is going to be a number greater than 80. So we've lost both of them again. Let's look at C. 1 minus 1 is 0. So anything to the power 0 is 1. So this whole 1.6 becomes 1. So 128 by 1 is just 128. So this actually means our value of k is this, even though that's not what the question is asking us. So our answer should be C. But let's try D. If we use 1, it means 1 minus 2 is negative 1. So 1.6 to the power negative 1 is a fraction, 1 over 1.6. And then you multiply that by 204, it becomes a smaller number. But it means we've lost the 1.6 and we've lost the 1.6 and we've lost the 204.8. So our only answer is C. Are you guys with me? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
All right. So they tried to make it tricky. Yeah? They thought they would get us, but not yet, sir. Not yet. But that was a good question. That was a good question. That was a tricky one. So far, I've seen like maybe 2 tricky questions or something. Quite a bit more thought. But all right. Let's see. So, where are we? 25. Okay, so usually when I was writing this, when I see questions like this, I used to feel discouraged, right? Because I'm like, why are you giving me a paragraph, guys? We're dealing with math and not English. But I noticed that usually the longer questions are even the easier ones. So now when I see longer questions, I don't feel so much intimidated. I mean, not now, but then after I took the exam and started practicing more, I realized like, oh, when I see a longer question, it's probably something that's chill. Just don't be intimidated. They're probably asking you for a simple thing like subject of the formula or something, but let's see. So it says a model estimates that at the end of each year from 2015 to 2020, the number of squirrels in a population was 150% more than the number of squirrels in the population at the end of the previous year. Okay, so at the end of each year, we have 150% more, right? So times 100% and then another 50. The model estimates that at the end of 2016, okay, so remember at the end of each year from 2015 to 2020. So after 1 year, I guess at the end of 2016, there were 180 squirrels in the population. Okay, so after the end of 1 year, okay. Which of the following equation represents this model where n is the estimated number of squirrels in the population T years after the end of 2015, okay, so from 2015 to 2020, so T changes from 1 to 5. 0 to 5. So our answer is going to be easily B without even having to do too much calculation. What do you about to say on?
Yeah, German I say C.
Yeah, normally I was actually, it's funny, it's actually crazy. I was about to say most likely the thing that most people will go for is C. And I see, no pun intended, I see why, right? So college board is just evil. I don't know why you do that to students, but so our answer is actually B. This is a good one because they almost got me as well. So normally people would think of C, right? They would eliminate B and D. It's either A or C, you know? For me, I eliminated everything except B and D. Why? Because, so if 1 is our 100%, right? If we got 100%, we've got everything. With a full thing, no fraction, it's 1, right? You guys agree, right? Like if you get 50 out of 50, for example, in an exam, you get 50 out of 50, that's 100%, right? But 50 out of 50 is the same as 1. So 1 is the whole share of the pie, right? And then if you get if someone gets, let's say, more than 100%, it means you have to add 1 plus that percentage, right? So if someone gets 50% more, like 50% more, so 50% of 50 is 25. So if someone gets 50% more, what do you guys think the person will get? It means they'll get 75, right? Because 50 is a full thing. But 50% of 50 is 25, right? Half of 50 is 25. So if someone gets 50% more than 50, it means they get 75. Do you guys agree?
Yes.
All right. So what's happening here is if someone gets 50% more, you do 50 over 100 because percentage means over 100. So you cancel the zeros. 5 into 5 is 1. 5 into 10 is 2. 2 into 1 is 0. 2 into is 0.5. So 50% is 0.5. Okay, 0.5. So it means if someone gets 50% more, they get 1, which is 100%, and then they get 0.5. So it means they get 1.5. So if you want, you guys can calculate on your calculators. What's 1.5? Let's do that. 1.5 times. Actually, let me do it here so you guys can see my. This, so you guys can see my. You guys can see my screen, right? Yeah. Let's calculate. 1.5 times 50. Boom. You see that is 75, right? So 1.5 means 50% more. So 1.5 out in is what the one does the thing, but 1.5 is 50% more. But these guys want 150% more. So if this is 50% more, it means 100% more will just be another 1. So it's 2. So 2. If you're adding another 100%, you're adding 1. So if you're adding a 150%, you're adding a 1.5. So it means 150% is actually 2.5. So we're only interested in this one and this one at the moment. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
And then the reason why I was so confident that B was the answer is because the question says at the end of 2016, so after 1 whole year, there were 180. So it means that at the beginning, there couldn't have been 180. So that's how I know it's not D. So it had to be something smaller than 180. Because if at the end of 2016, it means at the end of the next year, it means this thing has increased by 150. It means, let's look at that algebraically, right? Let's look at that in terms of mathematics. So it means at the end of 2016, there were 180, but 180 is actually 2.5% of something. It's 2.5% of the original one in 2015. Because we're trying to do it for at the end of 2015 all the way up to 20. So what's the equation? Okay, so let's make X the subject of the formula. What's 180 divided by 2.5? All right, so let's do that. Let's actually do that here since we've got a calculator now. This is beautiful. Should have thought about this a long time ago. Let me learn how to use this first. How do you clear this? I know how to clear this. Oh, AC. Okay. So 180 divided by 2.5. 72. Okay, great. So it means it's going to be 72 at the beginning. So it means, not 7.2, but 72. So it means our initial value was 72. So in 2015, we're at 72, but this thing will be increasing by this amount every year. So that at the end of 1 year, when we put T for 1, it's going to be 2.5 to the power 1. It's 2.5. 2.5 by this 72 is going to give you 180 for the next year. I hope that's clear. Good? We're good?
Yeah, sir. We're good.
Yes, sir.
All right, awesome. Loving this, loving this, loving this. How many questions are here? 28? Oh, look at it. We're almost done, guys. 2 more questions. All right, let's bang it up. Let's end this. Oh man. In the given pair of equations, A and B are constants. The graph of this pair of equations in the XY plane is a pair of perpendicular lines. Okay. Which of the following pairs of equations also represents a pair of perpendicular lines? Can I teach you guys a trick about not perpendicular lines, but about about gradients. I know you guys know that if you got two lines and they're perpendicular, it means when you multiply their gradients, your result should be -1. Sure, right? Yeah, okay, great, awesome. Oh, didn't you say no? You're talking to yourself right now. Okay, but okay, you guys know that when you have an equation of a line y is equal to mx plus b, it means your gradient is m, right? So ideally, what we're supposed to do here is, what is a gradient? Can someone give me like
Sir,
a definition, formula?
I believe the answer is D.
D. I can't tell right now. I hope it's D. I can't tell right now. I can't tell right now. I can't tell actually. You guys quick, man. You guys quick. I can't tell. It could be. Right now, I don't know. I'm gonna have to solve it. It's actually a pretty interesting question. Could you give me like maybe like a definition or formula or anything? Just so we understand gradient more, because it's something that I want to teach you guys a shortcut. Okay, so gradient or slope is basically a rise in y over the rise in x, right? How steep the slope is, right? So rise in y over rise in x, right? So y over x, that's why you have like y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So you're looking at the rate of change in y over the rate of change in x. That's gradient, right? Everyone's okay on that one so far, right? I'm just trying to make sure we're all on the same page. Look at this. If we make y the subject of the formula here, right, we have 7y is equal to minus 5x plus 1. Y is equal to -5 over 7x plus 1 over 7. So it means our gradient is -5 over 7, right? So I want to show you guys that whenever you have the x's and the y's on this side, you have the x's and the y's, and then you have the constant on your right side. Whenever you have your x's and your y's on your left side, and you have your constant on the y's. If this will ever help you guys, I hope you can take this. I remember when I learned this, it was like in 2018, and I was just like, wow, I did, wow, I didn't know that. So whenever you have your constants on your left side, constants on your right side, like in this case, the ones, and you have your x's and your y's on your left side, quite all right. We know that gradient is the rise in y over the rise in x. But what you do here is you just take negative, and then you get x over y. So in this case, the gradient of this equation is you get a negative, and then the coefficient of x is 5, the coefficient of y is 7. So the gradient is -5 over 7. Or you can do it the long way, whatever you're comfortable with, right? If you can do it the long way, you make y the subject of the formula and you divide, and you still find -5 over 7. Have you guys learned the shortcut here? Because it's this shortcut will be important. I just want you guys to be able to see. So when I'm using the shortcut, you don't think I'm pulling it out of nowhere. But you guys understand that when you do negative, the coefficient of x over the coefficient of y, when you have the x's and the y's on the left side and the constants on the right side, like in this case, it's the same way, right? Because at the end of the day, you're still going to look. If you make the equation in the gradient intercept form, the equation of a line, rather, you're going to see that you're still going to get the x, which is -5x, and you're still going to divide it by the coefficient of y. So have you noticed that when you divide the coefficient of x over the coefficient of y, you get the gradient, and it's negative because you're always taking the x the other side. Do you guys understand? Are we together right now? Let's make sure I want to teach you guys a shorter way of doing this. All right, awesome. Did you already know that? Because if you already knew that, yeah, you understood that, but you didn't think of it that way, right? Like a shortcut, like it's just, you learned something new, right? I hope. No, yes, sir, this time. Okay, tough. Okay, that's okay. All right, so anyway, we've seen that the gradient is -5 over 7. So if they've told us that these pairs of equations are perpendicular lines, if this is -5 over 7, it means the equation of this line should be 7 over 5, right? Because we know that the equations of perpendicular lines are negative reciprocals. So the reciprocal of 5 over 7 is 7 over 5. But because it's a negative 5 over 7, it means our other one is going to be the negative reciprocal. So it means it's going to be negative 7 over 5. So it's going to be positive 7 over 5. Have I lost anyone here? Because right now I'm teaching you guys equations. I'm teaching a topic using a question right now. We're breaking it down. Okay, I haven't lost anyone. Oh, wait. Yes, sir. I've lost you. Or is that yes, sir? I'm with you. Okay, I'm assuming that was I'm with you. I'm hoping that was it. All right. So what we're doing here is, okay, fine. Let's do it the long way even. Okay, right. Let's do it the long way since you guys are not sure if I'm with together like sometimes, So I'll put it in the form y is equal to mx plus b. So I'll get this equation here. I'll say by is equal to negative ax plus 1. So the gradient here is negative a over b. But we know that if this one is negative 5 over 7, we know that negative a over b should be equal to 7 over 5. If we want, we can multiply both sides by a negative, or we can factor out a negative, however you want to look at it. So you can say a over b is equal to negative 7 over 5. So it means your a is negative 7, your b is 5. So now we're looking for which of the following pairs of equations also represent perpendicular lines. We know that a and b are constants. So it means our a is going to be negative 7, our b is going to be 5. But which of these other equations also represent a pair of perpendicular lines? So what you guys can do the long way is you can find what's the gradient of this one. So you can do it however you want to do it. I'm just going to do it the short way. So I know the gradient is negative 10 over 7. So you can say 7y is equal to negative 10x plus 1, and then you divide by 7. It's still going to be negative 10 over 7, right? I'm just doing the quick way. Negative 10 over 7, which means the perpendicular gradient should be 7 over 10. So let's see. What is the gradient here? It's negative a over negative 2b. All right. But we know that our a is 7. So it's going to be negative 7, which is 7. Let me do this so that we, oh man. Okay, it's gone. We had negative 10 over 7 here. Yeah, we know that we're going to have negative a over negative 2b. But we know that our a is negative 7, so it's going to be negative 7 over negative 2. Our b is 5. So here we have negative 7, or we have 7 over 10. Right? No, actually, I messed that up. Let's clear this so that we can see properly. I need to make sure you guys are seeing properly what we're moving together. Okay, so here we have our a was, I missed it. What was our a again? Was it negative 7? Was our a negative 7? Okay, great. So our a is negative 7, and our b was 5, right? So for the first one, we have negative 10 over 7. So let's see if we're going to get a 7 over 10. If we're going to get a 7 over 10, then this is our answer. So now we have negative a over negative 2b, right? Which is the same as a over 2b. But our a is negative 7, our b is 5. So 2 times 5 is 10. So this is not the same as what we're looking for. So our a is not our answer. So we forget about that. We'll move on to the next one. Let's look at B. Our gradient again is the same, just like the first one. It's also negative 10 over 7. And what's our gradient for this one? It's negative a over 2b. But remember, this for them to be perpendicular, this should be equal to the negative reciprocal. So this should be equal to 7 over 10. So if a is negative 7, we put that. If b is 5, we put that. So this is equal to 7 over 10. Okay, so that's actually correct. So it means our answer is B. We've seen that this is equal to 7 over 10. Again, just to make sure you guys have understood, I'm going to do C and D as well. Just real quick. C and D, again, our gradient here, when you make y, start with the formula, or use the shortcut I showed you guys, negative coefficient of x over the coefficient of y, negative 10 over 7. It means, again, the gradient we're looking for it to be perpendicular is 7 over 10, because it's a negative reciprocal. But what is the gradient here? It's negative 2a, the coefficient of x, divided by the coefficient of b, which is of y, which is b, negative 2a over b. But we know that our a is negative 7 and our b is 5. So this is 14 over 5. This is not equal to that. So that's not our answer. We move on to D. Again, I'm just showing you guys. You don't have to, but I'm just showing you guys that answer would be wrong, you know. But you don't have. Once you find the answer on B here, and if you're very sure, should be good. Okay, so using the shortcut I've showed you guys, what is the gradient of this? Can someone tell me the gradient of this? No? Let's go. Negative 5. Let's go, Jaden. All right. Sorry, I'm just a bit excited. He just wrote the answers in the chat. All right. So it's a negative of the coefficient of x, which is 5, and then the coefficient over the coefficient of y, which is negative 7. So negative 5 over negative 7, which is same as 5 over 7, right? So if this other one had to be perpendicular, what gradient are we looking for? What's the gradient that we're looking for? Jaden again. Audin, anybody?
Sir, repeat your question.
Exactly. Oh, so my question is, if this gradient is 5 over 7 for this equation, what should be the gradient of the next one? If we want if we want them to be perpendicular.
It's negative 7.
Negative 7 over 5, because it's a negative reciprocal, right? Negative 7 over 5, because it's a negative reciprocal. That's the only way these two will be perpendicular. So negative 7 over 5. Okay, fine. Let's see. So what's the gradient of this one? I think Jaden just put that for us. The gradient of that one is negative a over b. So let's see. What's a? Our a is negative 7. So negative 7. Our b is 5. This is the same as 7 over 5. But this is not the same as the gradient we're looking for. So they're not perpendicular. So the only perpendicular pair was this. Our answer is B. Is everyone okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now we look at our last question. In the given equation, C is a constant. The equation has no real solutions if C is greater than... The equation has no real solutions if C is greater than N. Okay, no real solutions if C is greater than N, as long as C is greater than N. So what's the least possible value of N? So for equation to have no real solution, have you guys learned of what they call a discriminant? If you look,
if that is less than 0, it has no real solution.
There you go. There you go. So if this is less than 0, it's got no real solution. I don't want to get into it right now, but this comes from, even if you look at the quadratic formula, right? X is equal to negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Have you noticed something? If you have a negative number here, you won't have a root solution in the discriminant. That's where this comes from. Because if you have a negative root, then you don't have a root solution. You can have imaginary numbers like I something or whatever, but if you can have a root of a negative number, so b squared minus 4ac, this should not be 0 for you to have any real solution, right? So this is where this comes from. So for us, I'm just saying that it says the equation has no real solution. So let's start with this. And a quadratic expression comes in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. So in this form, what is our b?
Our b here is negative 34.
Negative 34, right? Squared minus 4 times a is 1. So 4 times 1, we just leave it as 4. And then times c, which we don't know. So let's look at what is negative 34 squared. I'm just going to get my calculator and do negative 34.
1156.
Okay, so that's 1156, right? So it's positive 1156. So I'll take it the other side, and it becomes negative 1156. And then I'm going to divide that. Can you divide 1156 divide by 4? Okay, that's 289, right? So I just, in case you guess, just in case I have any doubt, I'm just using my calculator, but we can do here 1156 by 4. It's 289. All right. So it means C should be less than 289. So as long as 2 is greater than 289, and you can see the equation has no resolution if C is greater than N. So what's the least possible value of N? So it has to be 289. That's the smallest possible value of N, because anything I guess greater than that will give you a negative number. Now this will become less than 0, and so your answer here is 289. So we've just gone through all the questions of this test paper. You guys have any questions? Any questions you brought for me? Any questions from this? Anything you didn't understand? Anything you've
sir.
learned? Feedback, whatever.
Sir,
Mhm.
how did we go from 1156 to 289?
Okay, so all right, so we're trying to find. They say the equation has no root solution if C is greater than N. So we know that for it to not have any root solutions, it means B squared minus 4AC should be less than 0, should be negative, right?
I get
So
it.
yeah, so exactly. So once we put the 1156 outside, I'm just trying to find out what the value of C is. So I just divide it by 4 on both sides, and this will cancel, we remain in C. And then when we do 1156, as you can see from here, divided by 4, we have 289. So that's where that comes from. We're good? Any questions, guys? Any questions? Anything?
Thanks.
No, sir.
Thanks. That's
Anything?
thanks.
All right, awesome. Let me switch to this. Let me switch to my Stoke. Sharing my screen. Switch to this guy. I can see you guys directly. Okay, so you can see me in 2 different forms. Let's fix that. All right. So again, just to wrap up, any questions? I hope you guys enjoyed the lesson. I hope you've learned something new. Thanks for coming. You guys keep on practicing. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. You have like my number and the other tutors' numbers, so just feel free to reach out. Also for those who might be watching, if people watch these videos on YouTube, just feel free to like reach out, leave something in the comments or something. I don't know, just reach out in whatever way you can, and then let's see if you have any questions. I'll be more than glad to create some time and we can go over some stuff if need be. But yeah, again, thanks. I'll stop the recording here, and then in case you guys just want to ask any questions. For sure.
Thank you so much, sir.
For sure. All right, so I'll stop the recording now and then leave you some space in case you want to ask any questions off the record. Jade, just stay back so I can give you the link.